Peace to everybody who's tuning in, watching this video. Basically, this is a continuation of my last video that's been getting a lot of views and as of lately. It was live for Instagram initially that I directly uploaded to YouTube right after. Unfortunately, about half the video got cut off. About half the video got cut off, and I don't know why. I didn't edit it. Just went straight from Instagram to uploading it on YouTube. Part of me believes that this was due to me exposing some truths that didn't need to be exposed, according to whoever. So I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. We're gonna discuss a few things, and I don't want to keep speaking on the topic of Nipsey Hussle and his death, simply because I don't want to clout chase, and I don't want to use this man's death in such an unfortunate situation to get views. So I want to start off by saying rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle. And the reason why I'm even bringing it back up is A, because a good portion of my video before it got cut off, and B, because we have some new information. Apparently, the supposed shooter was captured recently. So I just want to touch on those topics. I also want to talk about a few other things that I mentioned in other videos and expand on that, and make certain things clear, because I don't want people to think I'm just a hater of white people or whatever the case may be. I can hate the actions of a certain people without hating the people. Do you have to agree or like anything I say? No, I don't expect you to. If you comment, please don't be sarcastic. If you comment, please don't be a dickhead and say anything ignorant or out of the ordinary. Just, but you're free to speak your mind. I really don't give a shit if you say anything negative, because what I say is what I know to be true based on my research and my studies and just common sense and reality and what you see in the world today and what's going on. So first things first. Apparently, they found the alleged shooter and arrested him. But here's where I find a problem with that. As someone who's lived in what we call the hood the majority of my life, right? I've noticed something that's common in most areas that are hood. A, there's multiple police stations surrounding the area that you would live in if you live in the hood. At least in New York, at least in New Jersey, at least on the East Coast. I don't know about LA in particular. There also is cameras in apartment complexes, stores, you name it. There's not cameras there for your safety, because if you go to the white areas, you don't really see cameras like that on the outside of the stores, and inside, to protect the patrons and to protect, the people inside the store or whatever, right? They're there for safety. But how you can tell if a camera's there for your safety or just to catch a motherfucker doing something stupid is if there's cameras on the outside. So if you live in the hood, take a look around, see if you see cameras in your local stores, apartment complexes, project buildings, whatever you want to call it. You have it, right? And I mean, you have to live in the real hood. Like, you have to live in a really ghetto, dirty area. You can't just live in, area that you call the hood. It got to be the hood, or that a place that's predominantly black, Latino, or whatever. And granted, it may be because it's crime ridden, but people need to understand that this is because crime is big money. Okay, there's many things that are big money for these people. All right, so first things first, there's a camera on every corner, at every store, and at every apartment slash project building. All right, these cameras are not to protect the people living in those areas or going to those stores. They're to catch you doing something wrong. Now, if the police don't have time to arrest you for a petty crime, then they will leave you alone for the most part. But if they can benefit off of it, they will arrest you. This is nothing that's not common sense. Okay? Um, that if you do your research and you actually pay attention to these things, you won't realize for yourself. Um, Now, the reason why I mention that is because there's a camera in one of the photos with Nipsey Hussle behind him on his store, like for his store, right? I don't know if it's particularly for a store or just that actual building, but there's a camera there. The thing that drew my attention to that is when the media started releasing information initially. They said it was a black man or whatever description, but they didn't give any specific information. And as much as people are on Instagram 24 hours a day, YouTube 24 hours a day, social media 24 hours a day, whatever the case may be, they're on their fucking phones on cameras. Smartphones have cameras, and I'm pretty sure the government has ways of tapping in and viewing you. They have facial recognition on their fucking helicopters. Oh, that's another thing. In hood areas, especially in the West Coast, there's fucking helicopters flying around constantly because of shootings and crimes and all of this shit. Constantly, right? Looking for crime. So a helicopter should have caught it, and if it didn't, okay. You could say that that never happened. That the helicopter didn't catch it. You could run that past people. You could fool people into believing that because they catch motherfuckers every day easily. Um, but the store camera didn't catch it, and I could have sworn I mentioned this in the live on Instagram. If I didn't, I meant to, but I've been really thinking about it. It just kind of like probably slipped my mind if I didn't mention it. But the store camera caught it. Usually, when there's a crime, at least when I see the news in my area, and they have camera footage, if they release a certain amount of information, they will release that camera footage too. Because there's nothing that they don't tell you that you don't know. So they just release the camera and mention and say, if you see this person, especially if they're really trying to catch a person, if you see this person, go, inform the police or whatever. There was somebody, you know, the picture out there and circle that there was a camera there. We should know who this person is, right? I guess alluding to that. So now the police is saying, they pick a specific person. Now, if he was right in front of his store when this happened, at least the distance, just judging by the video footage we did see of Nipsey on the ground, then we should have been able to see the person's face pretty clearly, unless he was masked up, if he was smart, or whatever. We should have seen images of this person. The description that they gave us in the beginning shouldn't have been so vague. Should have been very straightforward to the point. Okay, so that's something I noticed. Um, Something else I noticed is why is it that they found the person so quick before, but they were out searching? Now it's a good thing they caught this person quick. Caught this person quick. For or they might have hired him and are going to dispose of him. Because a lot of us are dumb enough to fall for the government shit. And not just that, the government don't even have to hire you into killing another minority. In reality, they could trick you into doing it. They have ways of doing that, manipulating you into doing shit that they want you to do. Right? There's multiple reasons that Nipsey would have been a target from the government. Okay? Or the big medicine industry or whatever, the medicine industry. But I want to start kind of with the government. With the government is because Nipsey was on the cusp of trying to really end gang violence, right? And really trying to, you know, help the community through basically trying to end gang violence where other people have tried and failed or tried and only, you know, made chips at away they only chipped away at gang violence. Um Nipsey might have succeeded where other people didn't had he not been murdered. And that the government feared that. Clearly because he was a respected rapper, it would have made things easier. Black people seem to listen to these rappers a lot more than they listen to black politicians, black civil rights leaders. You know, rappers, when they create movements, black people follow that shit. And the government realizes that. So with Nipsey trying to end gang violence, most people say, well, wouldn't the government be happy about that? Wouldn't law enforcement be happy about that? Wouldn't these people be happy about that? Wouldn't this person? On the surface, that's what it would look like. But if you were smart and you really thought about this shit, you really think that the government would be happy about ending gang violence? Unless it's affecting them in their neighborhoods, they don't give a fuck. Unless you see 50 fucking overprivileged white people running around chucking up sets and all that other shit and you know what I mean, you know, rocking flags and rags, you really, they don't give a fuck because it's not affecting them. They don't kill each other. Okay, it means more jobs. As a matter of fact, they would prefer that you kill each other. As a matter of fact, they would prefer that you join a gang. The younger the better, because then you're more likely to kill somebody in their eyes. They don't realize the positivity that gangs um initially the purpose that gangs were initially supposed to serve, and that a lot of times people felt like they had no choice but to join up because they're supposed to protect the community. But you know, a few bad apples, and you know, so on and so forth, right? So Nipsey trying to end gang violence is a threat to the government. The reason why is because warfare and gang violence is big business for the government. It always has been. For every white rulership or whatever you have, whatever you want to call it, it's been big business. Henceforth, while they mention in their history books constantly, warfare is one of the biggest things in our school history books. They talk about warfare through the whole thing. There has never been a kingdom established in white history without warfare, not one time that you read of. With Rome established through warfare. Otherwise, Rome wouldn't have been a great nation. Every fucking great nation or great kingdom or great society created by white people is built on bloodshed and warfare. But I guarantee if you do your due diligence and research, there were so many black cultures and um, black kingdoms that were established without bloodshed and warfare. And I mean established. Didn't say they didn't have wars, didn't say there wasn't violence, but they were established based on intelligence, high society, money, resources, whatever, faith. That shows you we were taught this behavior, not even by each other, by circumstance and where they put us. We were trained to be warriors. Now, granted, we were warriors prior to this, but the animalistic nature of being a warrior was put into us. We were warriors to protect ourselves prior to our slave masters capturing us. You don't have to do your studying to realize that. You know, you don't have to study in depth to realize that. You just have to know some basic black history, right? We'll use Egypt for example. Egypt was established and became a great nation because of their inventions and because of where they were on the map. They had a great water source and irrigation systems and all that other stuff because of the pyramids and all those things. Warfare was not the main reason why Egypt was established. They had a lot of resources, a lot of gold. They had a lot of things that other nations, looked at them because they were more superior. So, therefore, um, so therefore, um, you start to see a pattern. Warfare and black on black crime is big business for America. Why? Because they sell more guns, either under the table or in the stores. Why? Because they have a common enemy. The United States always had enemies, right? They build up money. If you notice, a lot of the United States money is invested in um, their warfare tactics. I'm on live, and you know that, and you're being rude right now. Like I was saying, the United States invests a lot of money in war, right? Building better guns, building better technology toward war, right? But as much money as they invest in warfare, we don't have enough money for healthcare. Come on, that makes a lot of sense. Billions of dollars for warfare, yet we're still in debt to other countries. There's reasons for that. It's big business. War is big business. We have so many enemies as a country, the United States, right? Because we make enemies. Every country has a common enemy. You know that black people are pretty much hated in every country, in some way, shape, or form, looked at as less than. There's more black people in the ghettos and every in the there's black people in the ghettos in all over every continent. There's a ghetto for black people in every fucking country. That's on purpose. You need a common enemy. You need somebody to hate. And right now, the ruling class, the ruling empire, is filled with white people, and they survive off of warfare. Okay, just try to stick with me and try to, I'm trying to get a lot of information out and ideas out, um, thoughts out real fast. So it might seem like I'm jumping around a little bit, but stick with it. Um, the country, United States, well, America, but the United States invests a lot of money into war, right? Not just abroad, not just overseas, but also here in the United States. They're fighting a war against black people every day, right? Chemical warfare, as in drugs, physical warfare, as in shooting us down with the police, right? Counterterrorism, when they lock our asses up. Biological warfare, when they have our women constantly taking birth control. When they go to the hospital, they tell them, oh, your baby's high risk. And sometimes it's true and sometimes it's not. Or they say, oh, you have too many kids, you can't take care of them. Let's remove your fucking uterus. They find ways to convince you of something that may not be afflicting you. They tell you, the doctors will tell you a bunch of shit to have you remove your fucking uterus so you can't have any more children. Population control. There's so much wrongdoing that they do to us. Nipsey Hussle ending gang violence was one way that he was a threat to this country and to the values that this country has. There'd be one less enemy that the government would have to fight if gangs banded together and said, let's stop the violence, let's work together to heal the community. We don't need white people to come here and heal our communities by gentrifying our communities and removing us out of our communities. That's all they're doing, is kicking you the fuck out of your community and sending you to another one and still saying you're a nuisance there. So, there's that. Then there's the health situation, right? Him, releasing information about Dr. Sebi or Dr. Sebi, however it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but him releasing a documentary talking about the things that Dr. Sebi has cured with herbs and holistic health and diet changes. You don't need that. He made an enemy of the medicine and the pharmaceutical companies, because now you're not taking their chemicals. They're poison. And I tell you what, right? They say marijuana kills cancer. Cancer, it does. But the only reason they're letting you have it legally and putting it in certain places is because A, they figured out how to make money off of it, and B, because they can tax it, which they can make money off of it, and they know black people don't smoke weed. So they put it in the black, mainly in areas um, that are far away from black communities, but black people can get to. Because they don't want to put it in your community. You figure out how to make money off of it legally too, right? And then what they do is they try to get rid of the drug dealer that's making money selling weed, because it's decriminalized in most states, by making weed that's way stronger. And they know that most black people aren't getting the weed for medical benefits, even though it does help you medicinally. They're getting it because they want to get high. So what's happening is Dr. Sebi found a way to battle a lot of diseases that was man-made and make-believe, most for the most part. He figured out a way to cure those things. He became an enemy to the government because the government makes money off of it. He became an enemy to the pharmaceutical companies because they make money off of it. And most of these companies are owned, these Fortune 500 companies and these big companies are owned by white people, not black people. And he became a challenge to that, so they got rid of him. Nipsey was like a double offender to the government. Like, he was a absolutely have to kill and make an example out of. But the government can't just walk up and shoot him blatantly without masking and saying, blaming on a black person, saying gang violence did this. Because if a white guy, right, a spy or whatever from the government walked up and shot Nipsey, we'd riot and go crazy. Probably. If another black guy shoots him, we'll go on clout chase, get on the internet, talk about it, have little, peace walks and all other shit, and then forget about it and go on to the next thing. All they're gonna do is drop another distraction. They're gonna get somebody from the music industry, get somebody from the entertainment industry, do some dumb shit to draw our attention. R. Kelly was a distraction, which is part of the reason why this murder of Nipsey is easy to blame on that black man too, even though he may have did it. But you're gonna say it was gang shit, it was some dumb shit. You're not gonna say this man had to partially come from the government. You're not gonna look at the other factors that may have made him a target. He was a target. He was a double offender to the government. He was trying to get rid of gang violence. He was trying to fix black people's health, and he was trying to expose holistic medicine, actual medicine. Once again, like I said in the last video, you cannot do that and be black. I suggest that you guys, because there are good white people in the world, right? Um, and predominantly a lot of them grew up in the hood and under the same circumstances as black people. Those are usually the good ones. The ones that grow privileges sometimes turn out racist and don't even realize it. They don't know that. They don't know they're racist. Your environment makes you who you are. So if you're raised up in a harsh environment, you're gonna be a harsh person. If you're raised up in an environment with wealth, and that wealth was created based on the backs of slaves and racism, then your ass is gonna be a racist inadvertently. You could deny that shit all you want. You're gonna be a fucking racist. But I suggest, if you want to, um, combat racism, gang violence, and use holistic medicine, you definitely gonna have to use you're gonna have to trick the government a little bit. You're gonna have to get a white person to talk up for you. You're gonna have to make a script for that motherfucker and have him do it. You're gonna have to put on whiteface because they like putting on blackface. You might have to put on whiteface, you know, because that's the only safe way to do it that I can picture. There's no real safe way to do it. Another thing too is that people don't haven't put together. A lot of our black leaders that tried to do something positive for us and wake us up, they were all killed the same way, at least pattern wise. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And it even dates back to the person we call Jesus Christ, that we now know as Jesus Christ, his Romanized name, Jesus Christ. Right. So I'm gonna give brief like summaries. Right. I was talking about this with my wife. I think I mentioned it and I was talking about it with a few other people. But I think I mentioned it in the live also like briefly, and it was kind of unclear. But I'm gonna try to clarify it now, even though my thoughts are kind of racing right now because I'm trying to get it out there, and hopefully none of this video gets deleted or messed up or whatever. Or this video, hopefully this video doesn't get banned. So Jesus Christ, right? A quick little summary. So Jesus Christ, obviously, we know him as the Savior, the Messiah, the Lord, whatever, the Son of God, right? All that aside, he was a black man. We know this. White people are starting to expose it now. They have no choice but to expose it because it's written in that book, because there are artifacts that state it, because of common sense, the continent he was on, you would have been black. Well, what we call black, you would have been melanated. You would have been a black man, basically. Um, he was black, so obviously. And, now they're starting to admit it because, now all they do is say, well, it doesn't matter. He died for all of our sins, even though, that's up for debate too. But he was a black man. He tried to wake his people up, tried to talk to his people, tried to be there for his people. He tried to change his people's lifestyle. He predicted his death, or he predicted events leading to his death or to his harm or whatever. And he told his people about it. He exposed it to his people. Now, when he was murdered, killed, crucified, whatever you want to call it, he was killed, it was blamed on one of his people, another black man. It was blamed on Judas, right? So, quick summary. He tried to help his people. He was murdered. He was blamed on another black man, Judas. Let's fast forward. Malcolm X. And I would mention Martin Luther King, but I'm going to go to Malcolm X because that was, you know, Malcolm X was one of those figures that was, he's not really given enough credit. Martin Luther King, we give him credit every year, and I just want to bring up Malcolm X. So Malcolm X tried to wake his people up, tried to expose some truths, because Malcolm X was misled for a while. He found the light with Islam, right? Islam, religion and faith, right? But he was misled in Islam, apparently. He tried to expose the truth, tried to help his people and lead his people in the right direction with his beliefs that he still had, but he tried to lead his people in the right direction. What happened? He was murdered, got blamed on other black people. Why? Because black people kill each other every day, right? So, got blamed on other black people, right? Fast forward some more. Tupac. And now, whether they are blamed on other black people directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter. It was blamed on another black person. I'm just letting you know that now. So just think about it. I'm just giving you some ideas to Tupac. He tried to wake his people up, tried to change the way his people were thinking, tried to change the way people, his people's lifestyles. Guess what happened? Meaning black people. Guess what happened? He was murdered, blamed on black people, blamed on a beef. It's always being diverted. Just like Christ, there were attempts on his life, right? It's recorded. They talked about it. They were looking for him. There was attempts on his life, even as a child. Malcolm X, there were attempts on his life. Tupac, attempts on his life. And all these attempts were from white people, or their enemy at the time, white people, Romans, because United States, Britain, all of them are modern day Romans. Italy, that's why the Pope and all of that is in Italy and Rome. That's why the main Catholic Church is there. because it's modern day Rome and we're the Israelites still, right? So it's just we're in a different area, right? Um, so okay, so now fast forward. Oh, yeah, Tupac murdered, blamed on black person, his own people. Fast forward a little bit more, and I might skip over a few people. If I do, name them in the comments and whatever. So XXX Tentacion, troubled. And mind you, all of these people may have been troubled at some point in their life or had some hard times or whatever they was going through or whatever. XXX Tentacion tried to wake some people up, do some positive, thinking and some changes in his life. Tried to, help people and bring some positivity to his people. Guess what happened? Murdered, blamed on a black person. Like I said, directly or indirectly, whether they were blamed or whether they had anything to do with it, doesn't matter. It was blamed on a black person. A black person became the distraction. That blame, the person we are now looking to, we don't look at the government's possible involvement. That's the point, and that's what makes them responsible. Because that's also what gives it away. The pattern. Nipsey Hussle was waking his people up, got murdered, blamed on a black person. Who's next? R. Kelly. The government doesn't really give a fuck what R. Kelly does. Sex trafficking has been in this government for a very long time. The government does not give a fuck about R. Kelly and what he was doing to these little girls and these women. They don't give a fuck. If they did, they would have locked his ass up years ago. They did, they already knew what the fuck he was doing. There was video proof. They found videos when he sold his house or some shit. I heard that they found the fucking cameras that he was filming on. They could have went back and arrested his ass for that shit. Come on, man. Apparently, um, one of our ex-president's wife was involved in a sex trafficking ring, right? I'm not gonna mention names. I'm gonna say allegedly, cause But come on, a lot of our politicians were involved. A lot of our politicians are fucking are sexual deviants, whether it be with minors or not. If you're whether it could be people their own age or older, but it doesn't matter. They're sexual deviants. A lot of them are perverts. Our own very own president, and I'm not gonna I'm not talking bad mouthing the president, whatever the case may be, but we seen on TV he's a sexual deviant. We heard about it. The media spoke about it. He's a sexual deviant. What they do? They did a distraction to get our minds off of that shit. The shit with Gucci, right? We're worried about Gucci being fucking racist, right? And the racist shit they do. You This is something that you're worried about. You didn't think that Gucci would be racist. You didn't think that the company would not make something racist clothing. The clothing they don't a lot of these big brands don't want us wearing their clothing. It devalues their clothing. And the only reason they don't blatantly say that shit is because when rappers wear that shit is promotion for them and it makes some money. But in reality they really don't secretly they don't want us wearing their shit. But Gucci making that damn racist ass sweater, that blackface shit, that was a distraction away from what's really going on and the shit that the government's doing. A lot of shit is a distraction. R. Kelly's a fucking distraction. In reality, they could have locked his ass up without the media talking about it as much. But they blow that shit up. They let the media talk about that shit. They could have locked his ass up in secret. We would have never known about that shit. There's a lot of people that get locked up. A lot of celebrities that get locked up. We don't even know about it until way after it happens. And we're like, whoa, that motherfucker got arrested? Bill Cosby's arrest was a distraction. But here's the funniest shit. The reason why I felt it necessary to mention R. Kelly's as a distraction is because R. Kelly could have been locked up just as quick as Bill Cosby for his crimes. There's just as many women talking about R. Kelly touching them and raping them and having video proof. They had video proof. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of Bill Cosby women had video proof of Bill Cosby doing anything to them. But they locked his ass up very super fucking fast. You know what I'm saying? Super fucking fast. You know what I mean? I've seen people fucking get a ticket for jaywalking, not getting as trouble as get their court case ended as fast as Bill Cosby. That's real. People are fucking dumb. Pay attention. R. Kelly had just as many women talking about him with video proof. These women have video proof. These women, R. Kelly had the fucking proof. He was watching them damn tapes probably at home. I'm not gonna talk bad about the man because just as easily as he could be guilty, he could be innocent. And these women are just fucking him over. They could have a stunt double. They could have a paid actor that looks like R. Kelly doing these fucking films and shit like that. But I'm not gonna put that in the air. I'm just saying, if R. Kelly's guilty, which is very fucking likely, they had video fucking proof, and he's still not locked up for that shit. They're still doing trials, still doing interviews, still talking about this shit. Bill Cosby got arrested super fucking quick, and you know why? Because Bill Cosby has more power than R. Kelly. Bill Cosby can be a better influencer to black people waking up than R. Kelly. R. Kelly ain't doing shit for black people, but singing a fucking tune. But Bill Cosby could do something for black people. They don't want, like, people, please pay attention to what's going on. Look at look at all these fucking politicians that they know is into sex trafficking, like legit kidnapping children and fucking selling them as prostitutes from other countries and from the United States, and they still are walking around free. Look at all these movie directors still walking around free, but Bill Cosby's locked up. R. Kelly's still walking around free, but Bill Cosby's locked up. Africa Bambaataa still walking around free, but Bill Cosby's locked up. Come on. All of our leaders get killed. Figuratively and literally. They tried to erase Bill Cosby off of TV. They tried to erase Bill Cosby. They tried to make us forget about this nigga. Now, granted, it's likely he did it, but his argument was, he had a clear argument of at that time, women knew what the fuck they were getting into. Those women knew what they was getting into. They knew they was gonna get fucked. That's why they went to his room. Some of those white women that was fucking with Bill Cosby, they had jungle fever. They wanted some black dick, and he was one of the most fucking popular men on TV at the time. You mean to tell me you went up to this man's room expecting to talk to him and share a drink and not get fucked? You went up to his hotel room dolo by your fucking self or the friend, got drunk and did not expect for this man to sleep with you. He's a fucking celebrity. A lot of times when you go to a celebrity's room, and women, if you're that naive, listen to me now. When you go to a celebrity's room and you get pissy drunk, a lot of times these celebrities want to sleep with you. They know in their mind, because of previous interactions with other women, when you go to and because of their stature, they're assuming you're coming there for sex. And the ones that are single or don't give a fuck about the person in a relationship will try to fuck you because that's what they assume you want. Men are simple creatures like that. You, as a woman, and being of a higher maturity level, a lot of times women are than men, and this is a fact. Women, you know when you go to these rooms, you know what's gonna happen. A lot of these women knew good and damn well, and I sympathize with them because Bill Cosby should have known better that these women couldn't give a consensual yes because they were under the influence of a drug, regardless to whether they willingly took that drug or not. And they probably took the shit and knew they was gonna get fucked, and probably was like, "Hey, let's get high and let's take these drugs, Bill, and let's go fuck." They probably did that. We don't know, but he should have tried to have sex with them before they took the drugs, or got it in paper, written on paper, like we're fucking. You're taking these drugs as a part of us fucking. That would have been smart because now he could be prosecuted something that they willingly participated in. That is very likely that they willingly participated in, and they're just capitalizing because other people getting caught up, and because he's the easiest score for them because he's black. Had he been a white man, you think Bill Cosby would have been in jail right now? Hell fucking no, he wouldn't have been in jail right now. That motherfucker would have been sitting with Harvey Weinstein, toasting to each other, talking about, motherfucker, we ain't never going to jail. Come on, man. Wake the fuck up. Wake up. It's time to get real woke, real fucking fast. Okay? Black people, you gotta start helping each other. Stop fucking hating another black man if they doing good. He's not your competition. Do you realize if one black man's winning and you try to get on the same level instead of hating him and having trying to ball harder than him or her, and you try to figure out and you go to them, you say, look, man, I see you winning, I see you doing good. How can I get like you? You try to learn from them, that you building up your community and you building up that next person next to you, like you supporting their business, their music, or whatever you supporting from them. You realize you're building yourself up too. You're creating opportunities for yourself too. You dumb motherfucker. You investing in yourself when you invest in somebody else in your community. Think about it. That's like this, right? Say I'm selling. Say I have a restaurant, right? Now, let's say for example, it's a fucking pizza spot in New York. There's a million pizza spots in New York, and majority of them are white owned, or whatever the case may be. But say I'm a black guy and I own a pizza restaurant in New York. New York, a lot of people eat pizza in New York. That's why, right? No. Matter of fact, let's say I own a pizza spot in New Jersey, right? Now let's say I own a pizza spot in DC. I own a pizza spot in DC or Chicago. You know what? I don't give a fuck. I own a pizza spot in somewhere where they eat a lot of fucking pizza. I have a pizza restaurant. The majority of the pizza restaurants are white owned, but I bring one of the first black owned pizza spots. But your ass every single day, you go put money in that white man's pocket, right? Every single day. Instead, you could be putting that money in my fucking pocket, and then you now have the opportunity to say, you know what? I like his pizza, but I think I can do better. But as a black man, he's successful with pizza. I'm opening a doorway for you to be able to open another pizza restaurant on your own and be a successful black owned pizza business because now other people see that my pizza is just as good as those white pizzas. Or you're saying, okay, this man has a pizza restaurant. Let me open up a Chinese food restaurant. You feel me? You're investing in yourself. You're investing in yourself. Or for example, let's say something that's a little easier to understand. All right, so say now I'm on the block selling mixtapes. I'm outside selling mixtapes. And I say, yo, I'm selling it for $1. That dollar could be that dollar that makes me become popular enough and me to promote myself, or gives me enough money to promote myself enough to go mainstream. Me coming from your community puts a microscope on the community that we're in, our community. It puts a microscope on our community because now the industry starts looking at our community once they see talent there. Not just that, but now you have somebody from your community. They know there's talent there. They could pull you the fuck out. And which leads me to another thing. Black people, stop killing talent that comes out of your fucking community. Stop killing the people who's making money coming out of the community. Stop it. You're fucking yourself up. You're making yourself look more dumb. You're closing doors in your community. You don't even realize it. Stop killing the rappers going into your community. Stop killing people coming back to the hood and trying to save the hood after they leave. And then complaining about it saying, oh, these rappers never come back to the hood. They don't help the hood. Fuck them. I wonder the fuck why. Because every time they do, they leave the hood with a bullet in their ass. Or somebody tried to steal their chain or some dumb shit. Y'all motherfuckers are backwards. Stop. How about instead of hurting people, y'all build people up? That's what the fuck we're lacking as a community. Black people, Latinos, Native Americans, whatever you want to call it, people of color, because you're all, in reality, we're all black. Latinos, black people, we're all black. We all come from the same slave ships. Straight up. Stop separating the two. Stop differentiating the two. The only difference is you had different fucking slave owners. Your slave owners spoke a different language than the ones that captured other people. Yeah. You know, Haitian people stop saying you different from Jamaicans. Jamaicans stop saying you different from Haitians. Haitians stop saying you different than regular run-of-the-mill American black people. Jamaicans, you too. Black people, you too. Because y'all come from the same fucking slave ships. You just had a different fucking slave master. Your slave master spoke a different fucking language. And then interbred you with something else. A different group of black people. That's why your skin look fucking different. That's why your hair is a little different. That's why there's other bone structures that are slightly different. Because they interbred with you other black people. Native Americans are black people. They were just sent over here sooner, and then they were intermingling and having sex with other black people that were already on this continent. When people say that black people were already here on this continent, they weren't lying. But the ones that came here on slavery, right? People don't even know that there was a previous slave ship groups that came here prior to the transatlantic slave trade, and they fucking stayed here. But the people who captured them were killed. Um they weren't successful. And then the ones that were already over here, and also trade was coming back and forth over here. Mansa Musa, he was trading over here. So some of them probably stayed here and was fucking with other black people that were already here. All black people the same, essentially. You know, at their core. Stop. Build each other up. Teach each other. Love each other. We don't have our own military. The best we can do is support each other. Support each other. It's much stronger than having a military if they see, because physically we are superior. Think about it. And here's the thing. When I say minority, I don't mean minority numbers wise. There are more black people on on the continent of America, on the Americas, than there are white people. When I say minority, I mean financially. When I say minority, I mean socially. We are the minority. But numbers wise, we are definitely the majority. It's time to figure out we have more power than we think. But that's the end of my discussion for tonight. Alright. Hopefully you people tune in and watch the video. If there's anything that you didn't understand in the video, just leave it in the comments and I'll clarify it. I'll touch on it real quick. The reason why it seemed like I was rambling or whatever is because I don't go on live. I don't go on social fucking media. I don't do that shit. It's a waste of time for me. But I'm starting to get more into it because there's some things, there's some knowledge I want to drop on people, and some important topics I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I just, I feel like if your message or what you're talking about is not popular, people ain't gonna fuck with you, and they gonna talk shit, and I don't got time for that. So, but I'm promised to try, to drop some content here and there. And I know it's a long ass video, and I know I kind of rambled on, but stick with the video. It's worth it. It's a lot of worth the information. Um, if you want to build or whatever, you want to, shoot videos back and forth, responses or whatever, or comments back and forth, I'll respond to as many comments as I possibly can. So comment, like, subscribe, share this fucking video, whatever. I don't care if you do or you don't. I'm just trying to drop information for my people, man. All right, people. All right. You can still be a real nigga. You can still be from the street and still have knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. We got a lot of people that are like that. We have a lot of people that sacrifice for us to be where we are. And we don't take advantage of the opportunities given to us. What little opportunities are given to us. We shit on them. We gotta stop. All right, people. All right. So this concludes my video. All right. show some love, show some support, care for each other, and wait for the next video. And rest in peace to Nipsey, rest in peace to Pac, rest in peace to X, rest in peace to everybody who died to get us where we at, and who died to wake us up, and who put their lives in danger to wake us up.